Hi, my name is Marina Mikhail from EDSE 517. I'm presenting the Assistive Technology lesson plan. Who, what, and why? Who? It's a second grade students in a team class with 28 students total. 8 of them with learning disabilities. What? What is fraction? What is equivalent fraction? This is regarding the math class. Why? So the student will create and classify fraction and find equivalent fraction. The SRL standards 2.3, the student will identify the parts of a set and or region that represents fractions for halves, thirds, fourths, sixths, eighths, and tenths. They will write the fractions and compare the unit fractions for the halves, thirds, fourths, sixths, eighths, and tenths. Materials. These are some of the materials that are needed for this lesson, which are the smart board and projector, the teacher computer, the PowerPoint lesson presentation, and paper copies of the lesson presentation, activities 1 and 2 and 3 for homework, color markers, mini whiteboards, equivalent fraction, stripes, scissors, fraction sorting game, car race game, and YouTube to watch 2 of the videos. Adaptation. There are different ways that students learn and the student needs to learn better. Some of them are a pointer for a student to reach the smart board if needed. Teacher will make sure that the color and large fonts are implemented in their PowerPoints. Pictures are used for communication. Explicit additional instruction delivered when needed. The teacher will model assignments on the smart board for online activities and on the whiteboard for the offline activities. This is the lesson presentation. These are just few slides to look at. So the teacher will show the first slide as what you see. Some of the students will see a half a pizza, half a circle, half a sandwich, and that's when the teachers start talking about fraction. So what are fractions? Fraction is a part of a whole. It has to be equal parts in order for it to be a fraction. And then how fraction looks like, some examples for the students who practice, and then this is a video for a fraction. It just wraps up what a fraction means in an easier way for students to remember. And then this is just a practice for the student to do. They do it as a whole class, of course one at a time, and the student will just call out the answers. The teacher will then talk about equivalent fraction and what does the equivalent mean. So equivalent means equal, and then it talks about how if you cut a circle in half and then you cut it again in half, that you see a half, but also you see that 2/4. So that means 1/2 is equivalent to 2/4. And this is the fraction stripes. This is how it looks like. So students at that time will be cutting their fraction stripes, which is an offline activity, and they use it to know what is equivalent to 1 whole. So 1 whole equivalent to 2 halves. It's equivalent to 4/4, 8/8, and so on. And these are some of the questions, like a practice ones. So if you get it right, it will praise and say, well done, that's right. If you get it wrong, it will say, oops, try again. And again, this is another video just to wrap up what is equivalent fraction. It's in a small, like, easy song and fun to just for the student to remember. Then the online activity. So the online activity is a car race game. So let's start the game. So here the class will be divided into teams. Each team will be coordinated with a color car. Whatever color they are, that's their team color. And for every answer that is right, the team will be able to move their car forward. If they got it wrong, they wouldn't move their car, they will stay the same place. So let's play one turn and see. So here's the questions. So we go to number 1. Find a fraction that is equivalent to 2/4. I guess 2/4 is, oh, it's 1/2, I think. So let's try. Yeah, that's correct. So this time you go here, which is the home. We are the yellow team, so the yellow team gets to move their car. So they go on top here, they move their car. Whoever gets to the ending line will win like a candy, or a homework pass. Whoever loses, as I said before, it would stay the same. That's where it gets back. If you got it, go to question 2. And then you get the wrong answer. Sorry, that's incorrect. So again, if you go to the home, of course you want to move, but if the other teams got it right, they would just move their cars, and the more time you're moving, it will get to the ending line. And then the offline activity. There are 3 offline activities that's in this lesson. The first one, as you can see, it's the fraction stripes. So this one, as I talked about in the lesson, the students will cut out each stripe. The student will use them to find the equivalent fraction. So the teacher will give the class a fraction and ask the students to find 1 or 2 equivalent fraction using these stripes. And of course this activity is done as a whole class. And then offline activity number 2. So this is the card game. A student will be given a set of cards in a particular order, and students start when the teacher says start. Students start by flipping a card at a time, and the student starts drawing and coloring the fraction that's shown. Student is allowed to draw whatever shape they want to do as long as it shows the fraction. In a count of 3, everyone flips their boards to show their answer, and this activity is to be done individually. And this is the last offline activity that I provide, which is the sorting game. So this activity is actually to be done in pairs. So each pair will get a set of these cards, where it has 1/4, 1/3, and a half. And then students are supposed to sort the cards on the right fraction. They can use their fraction steps to find the equivalent fraction to do it right. When they finish, the student raises their hand and the teacher comes around and check the answers. If they get it right, they get candy. If they get it wrong, the teacher will point out the wrong ones and they can try to fix it. And that's it.